Hey everyone, this is Martin from howtomakemobilegames.com on February the 27th, 2018, Manchester, England, and I'm driving to work in around 9:30. It's 9:20 in the morning. This video is about following opportunity and not following your passion. I watched an interesting short video the other day on YouTube about the idea that you shouldn't really follow what your passion is when it comes to career or wanting success. Instead, you should follow opportunity. And it was a really interesting video because I thought it's kind of true in most situations. So I wanted to kind of share it on this video and see what you guys think. Hopefully you can see me okay there. But the idea of following your passion, that's what everybody tends to say when it comes to building a business and building a career, and to some extent that's correct. But I think with building a business, and especially if your goal is financial success, you know, you're very financially motivated, then following your passion really isn't always the best thing. You've got to sit down and kind of calculate if that's true or not. So, you know, say for example, like if your passion is acting. Now, acting, obviously, for the top stars in the world, the A-list celebrities and B-list celebrities, and even what personalities who might not be, you know, right at the top, yeah, maybe they can make a living out of it. But for the most part, being an actor, from what I understand, is very, very difficult. The work is very spread out, it's not certain, and you might not get employed for a long time. So even if that's your passion, if you're looking for financial success, passive financial success as well, then acting is probably not the way to go, because you are the product when it comes to acting. When I say you are the product, I mean you have to be the one to make the money. You're basically exchanging time for money. And in a business situation, especially one that you want to scale up, you can't exchange time for money. It has to be a scalable business where you can hire other people. In the case of, say, like acting, if you wanted to do, say, movies or something, and you wanted to do something within the film industry, yeah, that would be more reasonable, and you're still within that area of movies and acting and film, and maybe that's your passion. So you really have to think about, well, okay, my passion is, you know, I love it, but is it really going to be the thing that makes me successful and financially successful? As in, is it going to make me a lot of money, just to be very simplistic? And that can be like a truth bomb for yourself sometimes. I think with games, the industry that I work in, video games, yeah, it's a great career in terms of if you're a developer and a programmer, it's very interesting, it's very exciting work. But it is also very challenging in terms of it being very competitive. So, because it's a highly saturated industry, and being a video game developer and making the games is often the most flashy, attractive part of wanting to get into the games industry. It's the most glamorous part of it, you know, actually building the games is what everybody wants to do. It's also the most competitive. And one of the points the guy said in this video as well was, when everyone's going this way, you go that way. I can't remember the exact point he was making. I think it was Rockefeller who had said, when there's blood in the streets, that's when you buy. So, meaning that if there's a stock market crash and everything's dropping and nobody's buying, everybody's selling, that's when you buy. That's when opportunity happens, because that's when the prices are going to be low. In terms of, say, business structure or what industry you're in, it might be the case that you focus on the areas where everyone is going away from, possibly. It depends. Obviously, it's not exactly true all the time. But looking at opportunity instead of your passion. So take, for example, if you build a YouTube channel like this, for example. If I was to do the YouTube channel on, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of something very random here. Like, I'm drawing a blank, I'm sorry guys. If I was to do it on shoelaces, for example, or actually no product at all, if I was to just do it on mindfulness or meditation or something, which I do practice sometimes. If I'm not actually selling anything and I'm not able to make money from that, then that's not a business and it's not the best choice. Even though it might be my passion, it might be the thing that I truly love doing. If I was to make a channel about just showing music or how I make music, I don't do that anymore, but if I was to, then if I was to try and do that as a business, it would probably be very difficult, because how would I be making money out of that? Would it have a lot of cash flow in it? Probably not, because people, obviously they do buy from sites like iTunes or Spotify, but music in general doesn't make as much money as it did back when people were buying CDs a lot, at least to my understanding. In games, for example, let's say you really enjoy platformer games like I do, like Super Mario games. Now, that's great if that's your passion and you want to go for it as a hobby, but let's say if you wanted to make money, focus on an area which has a lot higher cash flow in it. So, for example, gambling games do, and gambling games are a bit harder to get into. Or maybe you focus on something like esports, for example, an esports platform. You're not actually doing the games. You're building the games. You're building a platform, and that way you're following the opportunity, even though it's not your passion. Or, for example, an ad network in the mobile games industry. Based on my experience, the ad networks have made a ton of money. The big ones, like Chartboost, AdMob, they've sold campaigns to developers for, they might spend $100,000 a month in order to climb the ranks in the app stores. And this has come directly from people who I've spoken to at the ad networks. They've said, oh, well, for a day one launch campaign, you might spend $30,000 on here. AppLovin, you might spend another $20,000 and so on. This was to Tapjoy as well, when Tapjoy was big a few years ago. So that's where the money is. Now, that's not my passion. Ad networks isn't my passion. Nobody, I think, who studies games in university or is a beginner game developer sits down and says, oh, I'd love to build an ad network. But perhaps a person who's more business inclined would do, because they would probably crunch the numbers a little bit. Or if they knew the industry, they would say, hey, okay, it's better not to build a game or a development studio. It's better to build an ad network, because the amount of money that's being spent on ads is ridiculous. And that makes sense. So even though it's not your passion, it is where the opportunity lies. So I think the rule when it comes to building a company and success is more about, don't follow what you love, follow what you don't hate. Okay, I think that's an important distinction. If I was to build a business, if I was when I'm building businesses, or when I'm thinking about businesses or apps or games or something like that, or doing these YouTube channels and affiliate marketing, it's usually something related to business or tech, software development, something like that, something of an area of interest. Within that sphere of interest, it's not talking about flowers or makeup or hair or clothes, or something that I have no interest in at all, really. It would be very difficult for me to make a channel about clothes or shoes or something like that, because I have zero interest in it, in those subjects. Even though I could start a clothes channel and refer it as an affiliate to Amazon, or cars, for example. I have no interest in cars. I would make a channel about cars and I'd talk about them and the engines and test them out or whatever. And then I could make that an affiliate channel or something. So there is an opportunity there, you could argue, but I wouldn't do it because I have zero interest. So it'd be very difficult for me to focus on that. Whereas something like the stock market, real estate investment, and when I say real estate, I don't mean like the building side, construction side of it. I have no interest in that. I'm much more interested in the business side, in creating a business system around real estate. I can do that. I can talk about that on these videos happily. And so there is I'm not going to run into the issue of absolute boredom. So I think the rule should be, don't follow your passion, or don't follow what you love. Just follow the opportunity and follow what you don't hate. Because if you hate something, you're really not going to do it for a long time. You know, if I was talking about insurance on these videos, I'd fall asleep before the end of the video. The other point I wanted to make is choosing your industry. I think it's really important, and I read a book a while ago. I can't remember the full name of it, but if I find it again, I will link to it in the description, because I need to get those links added, guys, for the previous video. I'm just waiting for the Audible affiliate thing to be set up. Again, any links that you click are probably going to be affiliate links, FYI, but I'm not going to be recommending anything that I don't know myself or have tried myself. So, but this book was like How to Be a Billionaire or something like that, and it was a very interesting look at how Rockefeller became a billionaire and how these other guys became billionaires. I think it was Martin, oh god, I can't remember, an IT company. And one of the subjects at the very beginning was talking about choosing your industry, and it was very practical knowledge, because it wasn't like, hey, follow your passion, just have passion. And I think when you see the videos, like say Tony Robbins, for example, and he's talking about passion all the time, and you've got to have passion, and you've got to go for it 100%. It depends on what industry you've chosen. It really depends. Yeah, passion is essential if you want business success and you want to grow a company and you want to be financially independent. Yes, you've got to work hard. You've got to have some passion around what you're doing. You've got to push yourself a lot. I know that. But if your passion is, again, shoelaces, and you open a shoelace shop in here, sort of North Manchester, where I am right now, you're not going to make a ton of money. Because how often do people buy shoelaces? Unless you've got a business model where you're supplying into Nike or something. But that's probably already established. In fact, it definitely is already established. And they're already being developed, you know, those shoelaces are being made in India or somewhere, you know, wherever Nike does its production. So it really depends. If your passion is the stock market, right, there is a ton of cash flow in the stock market. The business model is also, could be quite flexible because a lot of it can be done online. It's also, maybe, is it easier not to hire for that market, for that industry? I don't know. Whereas, say, for example, games, as a developer, it's very difficult to hire game developers, in my experience. You can hire them around the world, but finding somebody who is local to work for you is quite difficult. I tried to do this in Shanghai before, and then obviously it depends on prices. One of the guys gave a great example on this video, and he said he was a cesspit cleaner or something, like he handled sewage, and he had a $1 million company or $1 million plus company. And he made that same point as well. He did the thing that he knew was going to make money. People will pay to have their waste removed. Absolutely, they will pay. But it wasn't very competitive because other people were not wanting to do it, and there was an area where that was an opportunity. Now, he doesn't love, you know, waste. Of course he doesn't love it, but he went for it because it was an opportunity. I also read about a guy a few years back when my wife was working in fashion, and the guy was a very successful fashion designer, had his own brand, done very well. I believe his brand is based in London, and he said he doesn't care about passion. I read his quote. It was something along the lines of, he doesn't care about fashion. He's just in it for the money. And it was so honest, and I liked it, because you do often hear about, you know, always follow your passion, always follow your passion. No, don't always follow your passion. If your passion is something that is an opportunity, then great. It's in line with your passion. But don't just follow a passion blindly. You have to kind of crunch the numbers. You have to think about it. Think of an industry where the cash flow is good. The book that I mentioned before, the Billionaire book, his point in the book as well was choosing the industry is very important. If you chose oil or steel now, or say transport like trains, it is extremely difficult because it's a highly consolidated, very mature industry. Whereas if you wanted to make a $1 billion company now, software is a very good area to start with, because it's an upcoming area. There's a lot of innovation. clean tech, maybe things like that, you know. So it really depends on the industry. So again, guys, don't always follow your passion, just follow the opportunity. Don't do what you love, just don't do what you hate, if that makes sense. Anyway, guys, I'm about to work now, so let me know what you think about this video. Give me your opinion. It would be great to hear. And more videos coming soon. I will catch up with you later. Bye-bye.